just going story by story. Definitely let me know if you guys enjoy me giving comments or would prefer me to just read the stories. I honestly am down to do either or. And I did just want to go ahead and give a huge shout out to John Rice. Thank you so much for all of your love and support on my videos. I really appreciate all of your kind comments, so thank you so much. It definitely makes my heart very happy. And if you would like to be the next shout out, just go ahead and leave a nice comment down below. Alrighty, now without further ado, let's go ahead and jump into these stories. As always, they will be listed in the description just in case you want to check them out on your own. So, the first story is called Creepy Story About Seeing My Dad's Doppelganger. This happened when I was 8 years old. I saw my dad in the bathroom wiping himself after the shower, but the problem is he was supposed to be in the office at that time. So I asked him, "Dad, when did you come home?" He didn't say anything. I asked again and he closed the bathroom door on my face. I went from that room and didn't think much of it. 20 minutes later, Mom gave me and my little bro lunch. So we 3 people, Mom, me, my little bro, sat to eat lunch. I asked Mom, "Why aren't we waiting for Dad?" She laughed and said, "Why would we? He's gonna come at night." I told her, "But Dad is home," and then explained to her. We searched the entire house but couldn't find him. Creepy, right? After me eating and my little bro falling asleep, Mom stayed awake to watch TV. I woke to Mom's scream. I rushed to look at her, found her before that bathroom door. She hugged me and couldn't talk. I looked at the bathroom. It was empty. Asked Mom what happened. She said she saw Dad. Dad was there. But why would he appear out of nowhere? She asked him when did he come and said she saw that thing that looked like Dad make a horribly creepy face. So she screamed. And in no time I was there and that thing disappeared. Later, Dad came at night and we told him everything. I don't remember what we did after, but we moved out shortly after. Okay, the next story is called Apparently I Babysat More Than One Kid. When I was 13, I babysat a little girl named Emma, one of the sweetest kids you can think of. I was a regular babysitter for her so much that when I couldn't babysit for a few months, she called all her other babysitters by my name. This happened after I came back to be a regular babysitter for her. It was about 10:30 at night. I had already put Emma remembered a strange mystery from a really long time ago, probably from 4th grade. At the time, I did not know English very well. I strongly remember that I was the quiet kid in class. I never talked. I knew I would say something wrong, so I didn't even bother trying to talk because I would just embarrass myself. Anyways, I made my first friend in the class. Her name was Josie. We became best friends. At some point, she went absent. She never went absent before, but I thought nothing of it. A few days, still no sign of her. It's been a week and a half, and I got concerned. I asked my teacher if she knew where Josie went. She said, "I don't know who you're talking about." I got confused. How did she not know who she was? I asked my classmates. Nobody knew who I was talking about. I tried doing some research not too long ago, and nobody has a similar experience. The next story is called Childhood Clown Incident That Still Has Me Wondering. When I was around 5 or 6 years old, my younger brother and I, who would have been about 4 at the time, were playing in our front yard, as we often did. We lived in a very bad town in Southern California, a town that had a bad reputation and numerous tragedies, especially on the street we lived on. Suddenly, I heard a laughter coming from across the street. I stopped what I was doing and looked across the street and saw a clown, full suit and makeup, standing on the upper balcony of our neighbor's house. The clown then took out an umbrella and floated down from the upper balcony and landed right in front of where my brother and I were playing. I remember the clown started talking to us, but I couldn't remember what he said. I just remember that he was very loud and would move his arms widely when he talked. He then took out 2 large circus-style lollipops and handed one to each of us. The clown said something to us, then pulled the umbrella out and floated back up onto the neighbor's balcony and went inside. I always chalk this up to something I imagined since I was so young when it happened. I never mentioned it to anyone until I was 19. My brother and I were hanging out with some friends and sharing stories about strange experiences. I decided to retell the clown story when all of a sudden my brother's jaw dropped to the floor. His eyes were the size of dinner plates. He said that he remembered the clown and described details about the incident that I left out. I couldn't believe that he would even remember something like that. I was also in disbelief that it wasn't something that I just imagined. Now, this particular street had its fair share of strange and tragic occurrences, from murders, firehouses, and overdoses. It was always considered a cursed street. Could we have imagined this? Or was it something that was conjured from all of the negative energy of that town/street? Okay, the next story is called The Attic Ghost. I used to live in a house that was built on old farmland. I slept in the bedroom that had no door, except for the door leading to the attic, which had a little sliding lock on it. Every single night, I'd close the door and lock it. The attic frequently has birds and such get into it, and I didn't feel like having them fly out. Except every single morning, it'd be unlocked and slightly ajar. During the night, I'd wake up and have sleep paralysis. It was pretty frequent, and I got used to it. During said sleep paralysis, of shadowy and wearing what I can only describe as a farmer's hat. It'd stare at me for a moment, just stare. Sometimes I'd take a step over before turning and walking out the entrance of my bedroom, which lacked a door, but I had set up some beads. They'd knocked together. I can still hear it to this day. I had always been told I had an overactive imagination. I never spoke to it to my parents or family since they'd probably make fun of it. One summer, my cousin came to visit. She took over my room since my family thought she deserved a larger room for whatever reason. She came down for breakfast in the morning, white as a ghost, and said I could have my room back. When my mom asked why, she told her she had sleep paralysis and said basically what I had. I had never spoken to her about this. Years later, once we had moved out of the house, my mom told me something. Her bedroom was on the same hallway as mine, and she always slept with the door open. She told me some nights she'd wake up just to see a figure pass by the bedroom quickly. I don't know if this was a shared delusion or what, but it still scares me to this day. Okay, the next story is called Saw This Guy on the Side of the Road. He opened his mouth and a flood of water poured out like a waterfall. This is going to sound as wild as it feels. I've rarely been this shaken and cold and scared. Saw this guy on the side of the road on my way to work this morning. A white male, maybe 30-ish, appeared to be in wet clothes. No hair really, like he was shaved or he was bald. He opened his mouth and a flood of water poured out like a waterfall. I was going highway speeds, but when I looked in the rearview mirror, he was gone. I have no explanation for any of this. I saw him again on the side of the road further along, just past a bridge over a creek at the bottom of a tall canyon. His clothes were wet, and when he opened his mouth, water poured out. Get to work this morning scrolling through a local news page, and holy cracker jacks, I saw this man's picture go by. I see his eyes in the photo, and I know this is the man I saw on the side of the road. Twice. I saw him twice, both times. When I passed him and looked at the rearview mirror, he was gone. Turns out on Saturday, there was a boating accident. One of the men on the boats was unaccounted for. The man I saw, I'm taking that to mean he drowned. The rivers are so high and so cold and so fast right now. I don't know how anyone could have survived, and he was not wearing a flotation device. It was reported. After I read the article, I went outside the building I work in and asked him by name to please not show himself to me again. I didn't have any way to help him. I wasn't the one who could do literally anything for him. It's so sad. He had a bunch of little kids and a lovely wife, but he scared me and I can't help him. What the heck would I do anyway? Tell you what, my head hurts something fierce. Hands down the craziest thing I have ever seen in my many years on this earth. Alright guys, the last story for today is called The Doll and the Door. When I was 7 or 8, I would have a reoccurring nightmare that one of my dolls came to life, played with me, and then would try to pull me into the closet with her. I'd follow her into the closet at first, but then she'd show me this little door at the back of the closet, and my heart would start to race. I don't know what it was about the door. to my mom the other day, and this dream came up. I'm laughing about it and how ridiculously paranoid I was about dolls and that closet, but my mom gets really quiet. She tells me the creepy part of that dream wasn't the doll,